The NFL season got kicked off this past Thursday with the Denver Broncos hosting the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. Joey Flacco led his team in the first half to a lead, but Peyton Manning came alive in the second, throwing for 7 touchdowns in the game. Baltimore, on the other hand, their offense went stale. They stopped running the ball. Ray Rice wasn't a factor, and they kept going 3 and out, 3 and out. Elsewhere, Sean Payton won his first game back with New Orleans. They beat Atlanta. Drew Brees threw for over 300 yards, and Matt Ryan played well, but couldn't find his main man, Roddy White, who only had 2 receptions on the day. The Eagles are back with a new high-powered offense. They ran 53 plays in the first half alone. Michael Vick was amazing. Threw for over 200 yards, 2 TDs, 0 interception. LaShawn McCoy was a beast on the ground. He ran for 184 yards, while Washington, on the other hand, was shocked by this. Robert Griffin III looked rusty in the first half, but still ended up with over 300 yards passing. The Eagles take the W. Now, the big comeback on Monday night was San Diego choking against Houston. Schwab went off. He threw for over 300 yards, and Andre Johnson was a monster. Over 180 yards receiving. He is still one of the best receivers in the game today.
The Colts snuck by the Raiders on Sunday. Andrew Luck played beautifully. He had over 300 yards rushing. I'm fucking soaked. I'm at the locks. What the fuck? Oh. Colts snuck by the Raiders on Sunday. Andrew Luck had a magnificent game. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, while Oakland's quarterback Terrell Pryor didn't play too bad himself. 200 yards through the air, had 100 on the ground, but had a couple costly interceptions that cost his team the game. Miami versus Cleveland, Miami took it. Both teams combined for 67 yards on the ground, and Brandon Wheaton, Cleveland's quarterback, had 3 interceptions. Pitiful. Now, the Lions spanked the Vikings in Detroit. Christian Ponder had 3 interceptions. He's a bum. Matt Castle, get ready. You've got to be playing. Matthew Stafford threw for over 350 yards, and Reggie Bush did the wild thing. 100 yards through the air, 92 on the ground. Charles Tillman picked off Andy Dalton twice as Cincinnati loses in Chicago. Brandon Marshall had a huge game. Cutler played well, but it was the 2 interceptions that gave Chicago the opportunity to settle in on offense. Elsewhere in the league, Tennessee shocks Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. The Pittsburgh Steelers no longer have a running game. They rely way too much on their pass. And Marquise Pouncey, their center, Pro Bowler, is out for the season with a torn ACL and MCL. Colin Kaepernick went off, threw for over 400 yards to his new favorite receiver, Anquan Boldin, in a big win over Green Bay. Also, St. Louis topped Arizona in a pretty tight matchup. Robert Quinn was a beast on defense for the Rams. 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. They pick up the W. Russell Wilson threw for over 300 yards against Carolina, and they picked up the W on the road. That's what good teams do. They find a way to win the games they have to. Now, the Jets, on the other hand, snuck one out against the Buccaneers. Geno Smith played well for his first ever start, and the Buccaneers' offense was terrible. Their defense is stacked, but their offense couldn't produce for them. The Pats went into Buffalo and laid an egg, but came out with the W. E.J. Manuel is something Bills fans can have hope for, but blowing a lead and losing to the Pats on week 1 isn't a good way to start your season.